my iron here. This is bugging me. What is this? Holy shit, it's so high up there. That's fine. Do I have one on me? Oh well. Hi, Drew. Hiram. Are you good? I mean, are you good? You seem pretty angry. I don't know why. Here. There's the code if you want it. this one. Did I do this one? No, it's still holding it. Damn. There's a cat, I gotta go kill it after I get this tree. Did the cow disappear? Oh my god. Look at these trees. Hi, Mom. How'd that go? Do you feel like shit? Are you okay, Mom?
Yeah.
Did it go well?
Yeah.
Did the cancer spread?
We won't know for 2 weeks.
go. That's interesting. I don't think this is one of those things, so... gonna make a boat. I'm gonna go looking around for a bit. Also, hold on. Oops. I was gonna make a boat. So I'm gonna go try to find some stuff. Actually, turn it off. I'll sleep and then I'll go out. Bruh. Went over here to the ocean. Hi, puppy. Come on, puppy. You can come on. Hop on. Hey, puppy. Hey, baby girl. Hi, baby girl. What you doing, puppy? What you doing, puppy? Okay, go find mommy. I'm gonna go back and then I'm just gonna Do some other stuff. Should follow the land. I'm not trying to look for any buried treasure right now. I need that. I'm just trying to find you know, buried treasure wouldn't be bad right now. Oh, what's that? I think I've been to this one. Hold up. I think there was really nothing good in this one. Well, nothing at all, actually. I want to stay close to the side.
We are getting Eminem in Fortnite, and I don't just mean as a skin which has been leaked with a whole bunch of styles and he's looking badass, or an event, the end of season event to take us into the new chapter is going to heavily feature none other than Eminem. I don't really know how Eminem's going to fit into the Fortnite storyline for an event, but a lot of people are saying this could be the best event we've had since Travis Scott. This event could easily feature...
And now it's too late. They're here. But greet our guests and take their coats. Mom, Reverend Lovejoy doesn't have a coat. Should I let him in?
My coat was stolen at last week's interfaith banquet, so I helped myself to a few of the better umbrellas. Well, as you can see, we don't believe fur is murder, but paying for it sure is.
Sorry we're late, but Luann had to put on her face. She doesn't want anyone to know she's got no eyebrows. What, you don't? Come on, Luann, you know what this is.
Kirk, I don't know what it is.
It could not be more simple, Luann. You want me to show this to the cat and have the cat tell you what it is? Because the cat's gonna get it.
I'm sorry, I'm not as smart as you, Kirk. We didn't all go to Gutcher College.
It's dignity! Duh! Don't you even know dignity when you see it?
Kirk, you're spitting.
Okay, genius, why don't you draw dignity? Oh, there's dignity, all right.
Worthy of Webster's.
Oh, it's no wonder I can't draw dignity. Gave it up when I married her.
Now, Kirk, it's only a game. Sometimes we...
Ah, cram it, Churchy.
Lisa, why don't you come sing for us?
You're a grand old man. Oh, great. You got the kids singing. I hope you're happy now.
I am not happy. And I haven't been happy for a long time. I want a divorce.
Divorce? Sure, divorce. Hey, you got it, Toots. And here's a picture even you can figure out. It's a door. Use it.
That's a door?
Your father was devastated. Women and they're crying.
Finish the damn story. I've got a hockey game tonight.
When I finally got back to the house.
Looking back on... The OG Fortnite Season X update is now officially live right now. Yes, that means the OG Fortnite that we've had...
It's impossible to get 85. Let's go. I don't even know why I said that. Stupid.
Fortnite just walked back the most controversial update in Fortnite history. So if you remember a few days ago, Fortnite implemented an age restriction. This restriction added ratings to different islands and would restrict item usage based on the island that you were playing on. Well, everybody got upset with this update and Fortnite actually listened. You see, they tweeted out that they did not hit the mark with the update and that they are working on a few new options. Now, when Fortnite tweeted this, Nick A30 replied asking if they can make the in-game event family-friendly, and people all over social media canceled him for this tweet. He was literally just joking, though. Now, even though Epic isn't going to go forward with the age restriction changes, there's still a ton of huge memes that you've probably seen where people do things like show off Kids Bop versions of emote, basically saying that Epic changed the emote to make it more kid-friendly. That one about the Kids Bop version of the Gritty is probably my favorite of these memes. Now, I have to say, props to Epic for reversing these changes. Most companies would just go forward with the changes and not give it a second thought, so it's refreshing to see them actually listen. Fortnite just...
Vendetta! Vendetta! Vendetta for me, Papa!
Revenge is a dish best served family style.
We're in a foreign city with no car, being stalked by a killer. I feel like I'm the Bourne Identity. Hey, Krusty's in an opera here in Rome. He can save our lives. Come on, let's go.
Oh, opera! They have that here too?
Let's see. I ain't doing that. That's not funny. Here we'll change wealthy merchant to nudist with big rack. This needs punching up. That's coming out. 2 acts.
Krusty, you gotta help us.
I don't do gotta.
Sideshow Bob has sworn a vendetta against us.
Vendetta? What's that? An Italian vending machine? Ah, that's my opening joke. And my closer. And my saver. And my topper.
Please help us, Krusty. We don't want to be the first Christians to die at the Colosseum.
I'll tell you what. Put on these costumes. Go on the stage and mix in with the crowd scenes. He won't kill you in front of all those witnesses.
Can I be the Phantom of the Opera?
Dad, the Phantom isn't in this.
But I do a great impression of him. I am the gayest supervillain ever. Beware my scented candles. Ooh, scented.
No more Rice Krispies. We are out of Rice Krispies. Hey, don't blame me. I didn't write this crap.
I can't believe what that clown is doing to Leoncavallo. And they call me a murderer.
Vendetta! 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 Vendetta!
I put a knife in the case and it broke. Well, no The Flexi display is meant to showcase your collectibles, not your weapons. Our display case enhances the aesthetics of your Hot Wheels, your Legos, and anything you can fit inside. Name something that won't fit in the Flexi display.
My
I put a
dick.
knife in the case and it broke. A man walking along a California beach was deep in prayer. All of a sudden, he said out loud, "Lord, grant me one wish." The sunny California sky clouded above his head, and in a booming voice, and the Lord said, "Because you have tried to be faithful to me in all ways, I will grant you one wish." The man said, "Build a bridge to Hawaii so I can drive over anytime I want." The Lord said, "Your request is very materialistic. Think of the enormous challenges for that kind of undertaking. The supports required to reach the bottom of the Pacific, the concrete and steel it would take over thousands of miles. I can do it, but it is hard for me to justify your desire for worldly things. Take a little more time and think of another wish, a wish you think would honor and glorify me." The man thought about it for a long time. Finally, he said, "Lord, I wish that I could understand women. I want to know how they feel inside, what they are thinking when they give the silent treatment, why they cry, what they mean when they say nothing, and how I can make a woman truly happy." The Lord replied, "You want 2 lanes or 4 lanes on that bridge?" A man walking.
What girl in this earth wants to date a guy like Nick A30, who has a bald head from Canada? Bald head from Canada with glasses. With glasses, too. With glasses. You gonna be hitting it from the back. Amazing. Hey! Yo! Time out! Time out! Keep it family, baby. Keep it family.
Jesus.
Like, bro, there's no way. There's no way. There's no way. Come on, Nick. Don't joke with me. What girl in this earth wants to date a guy like Nick A30, who has a bald head from Canada? Bald head from Canada with glasses. With glasses, too. With glasses. You gonna be hitting it from the back. Amazing. Hey! Yo! Time out! Time out! Keep it family, baby. Keep it family.
Jesus.
Like, bro, there's no way. There's no way. There's no way. Come on, Nick. Don't joke with me. What girl in this earth wants the data god like PK30, who has a bald head from Canada. Bald head from Canada. With glasses, too. With glasses.
Looks like I didn't really need to call it.
You want me hitting from the back?
Oh, yeah.
Like, bro, there's no way.
Accidentally divided my family and my brother's wife's family with one innocent text message. So, my brother's wedding happened 2 days ago, and it turned into complete chaos, which I know even though I wasn't there. You might wonder why I didn't attend the wedding if it's my brother's. Well, it's because of his wife's family. He did send me an invitation to the wedding because he wanted me there, but his fiancée told him I couldn't attend because I had a boyfriend. You might be confused, but I'm a man, and I have a boyfriend whom I wanted to bring to the wedding. She said that even though she doesn't have a problem with that, and that my brother doesn't have a problem with that, her extremely religious parents, who already forced her to have the wedding in a church, would most likely banish us from the wedding and cause trouble between our families. After she told him that, my brother told me I couldn't attend and explained why. You might think I was angry. The truth is I was relieved. I hate going to big events with lots of people because of my social anxiety, and I was already used to not being able to attend certain events because of my orientation, so it was nothing I haven't heard before. So, on the day of the wedding, I stayed at home with my boyfriend. It's worth mentioning my parents apparently didn't know I wasn't attending the wedding. I was chilling at home, cuddling with my boyfriend when I suddenly got a text message from my parents asking me where I was because they couldn't find me at the wedding party. I told them I wasn't attending the wedding and asked if my brother hadn't told them anything. They said no and asked me what happened. I didn't see any reason to lie, so I sent them a text message telling them exactly why. Now, I have to admit I don't exactly know what happened after I sent them this message because they saw it but didn't reply. And why did they care in the first place? They didn't notice I wasn't there until after the wedding was already over. They only noticed when the wedding party started. However, apparently, my parents talked to my brother about it, and all of a sudden, my absence was the main topic of the wedding party. From what I heard, two fronts formed. On the one hand, my parents and the rest of my family were against the family of my brother's wife, and apparently, he, as a husband now, felt compelled to take her side and tried to argue in her favor. It's crazy to think that I was just sitting at home living my best life with my boyfriend while all of that went down at his wedding. The wedding party was ruined, and my brother appeared at my door angrily screaming at me, asking why I felt the need to ruin his wedding. I was confused and asked him what happened, and he told me everything. I told him it wasn't my intention. I just told our parents what happened because they didn't know and wanted to know where I was, and I thought he had told them beforehand. He screamed at me that I ruined his wedding. I told him it's not my fault he wasn't honest with them. I just respected their wish not to attend the wedding. I didn't know it would go down like this because, as I said, I couldn't attend several events before because of my preferences, and my parents never said anything about it, so I thought it would be the same thing here. But I gotta admit it's kinda sweet that my parents and the rest of my family stood up for me. They haven't done it before. That's a more than welcome change. But I still feel kinda bad because apparently, I really ruined the wedding party. Update 1. Didn't think I'd give an update, but many interesting things happened. So after my brother's visit, he and his wife went on their honeymoon. The way the wedding party went might have been even worse than I imagined. What happens now is incredible. When I said in the main post that two fronts had formed, I only meant that metaphorically, of course, but it's no longer just that. While nothing much interesting happened in the first 2 days afterward, the terror started as soon as my brother and his wife went on their honeymoon. My mom and dad visited me and told me how the wedding party escalated, and they were so close to physical violence. I thought it was funny at first, but this truly bothers me. I also want to point out that you did a great job at convincing me it's not my fault, but hearing my parents' side still gave me a bad feeling in my stomach. However, like I said, the terror started shortly after they went on their honeymoon. And when I say terror, I mean that my sister-in-law's family found both my Facebook and Instagram accounts and started spamming me with hateful messages. I received insults and hateful messages from various different accounts, all of which had one thing in common. They all had somewhat of a Christian theme, and all of them had the same last name. So it wasn't hard to find out whose accounts they were, mainly because I don't know my sister-in-law's family at all. I only know her, and I know her parents were hateful Christians. But whatever. They not only started attacking me, but they also found the account of my boyfriend through my account because we're linked as a couple, and started to send him the same messages. The messages contained, on one side, typical hateful stuff like, "You're burning in hell for your sins." One even called me and my boyfriend two devils in disguise. The other side were just blatant insults. You get the idea. I called my parents and told them what they were doing. Then I sent a text message to my brother with screenshots of the messages his wife's family sent me, to which he replied that I shouldn't disturb him with that during his honeymoon as I already destroyed his wedding party. I couldn't believe it. He was just like them. He did send me an apology after my mom told me she called him. But none of this is the main reason I'm giving you this update this early. Because I got a call this morning from an unknown number. I hesitated because I thought it was one of them. And I was right, but it was none of the people who insulted me. I heard a woman's voice who introduced herself as the half-sister of my brother's wife. She said it didn't go unnoticed what her family was doing, and she wanted to apologize for them. I told her I'm not going to tell anyone in her family about this, and that I don't blame her for her family's actions. She thanked me and hung up. I don't know why, but I have this feeling she only did this to protect her family from being reported. My mother wrote to me earlier that she wants to report the insults and the harassment of these people, and that she demands for my brother to divorce his wife or she will disinherit him from her will because that's not how she raised him. A little radical in my opinion, but I understand where she's coming from. This entire thing escalated so much, it's unbelievable. Update 2. It's been a few days. First of all, my boyfriend and I are fine. Luckily for us, they didn't go any further than their text messages. My mom filed a report against them, accidentally divided my family and my brother's wife's family with one innocent text message. So, my brother's wedding happened 2 days ago, and it turned into complete chaos. Accidentally divided my family and my brother's wife's family with one innocent text message. I don't know the current situation about that as I haven't filed the report myself.
I haven't been
The
talking
reason I'm
much because
updating
my
you is a different one.
guns
First of all,
weird.
one person in my sister-in-law's
I
family is
died in
actually going to
Minecraft,
testify in my
someone's really far away from my house, and I'm trying to find out where I died.
favor and against her family. It really takes courage to do so. It's the same person that called me in the last update. Somehow they found out that she is into women. No reason to hide it anymore. However, she said she's fine and is going to stay at a friend's house. I have so much respect for what she does. Imagine the strength you need to testify against your own family. I now feel bad for assuming she only called me to save her family from being reported. More importantly, what is the current situation with my brother? Well, my mom talked to him and told him to leave his wife or she will disinherit him from her will. He decided to stay with his wife, and my mom made her threat come true. He's no longer in her will. My father did the same. When I visited them, I also told them that I wish that this entire situation went differently. They assured me it's not my fault, but I feel like if it weren't for me, then my family wouldn't be ripped apart like this. Haven't talked to my brother since then. My boyfriend feels similarly. He also told me he kind of feels responsible for all this chaos. I assured him it's not his fault. But honestly, I wasn't even sure if I could say this in my position. On the other hand, it was my sister-in-law's family's beliefs that ruined everything, and everything would have been fine if I could have just attended. But now it's time for me to grow distant from the situation. We'll see what the report will do. I followed your advice to document everything. The insulting and harassing messages continued until 2 days ago, so I have much to say about them. Unfortunately, hate for guys loving other guys is still very much normalized in our society. I already said it in a post on my profile, but the reason I'm so calm and casual about the situation is the simple fact that I'm used to situations like this. They don't get to me anymore. If I let any insult get to me, I wouldn't make it for a long time. It's a coping mechanism. I've been in situations where I was sent to the hospital because I kissed my boyfriend in public. So insults and harassment like theirs are nothing I haven't seen before. Update 3. I think some of y'all are waiting for an update, so here I am. Keep in mind that this update will probably be the last one. So last time, I told you my mother was pressing charges against them, and to my surprise, we won. They weren't going to jail or anything, but they had to pay for their actions, literally. There was one incident where my sister-in-law's dad was actually trying to find out where I lived and asked my brother who told him. Only God knows what he would have done to us if we still had lived there. But in the time span of the last 2 months, my boyfriend and I moved to a different place which my brother didn't know anything about. Also, their social media accounts were deleted. However, I don't know if this was part of their punishment or if they did it themselves. My mom has also carried out the threat towards my brother and disinherited him from her will. After he came back from his honeymoon, he begged her to put him in again. She said only if he apologized to me. She invited me and my boyfriend over, and my brother sat in the living room with this mad look on his face. She made him apologize, but I didn't accept this apology because I could tell it wasn't sincere. He did it because he had to and not because he was actually sorry. I told my brother that I am disappointed in him for who he became. Before that, we had this huge bond, usually never judged each other for stuff like this, and all of a sudden, he has such a problem with me having a boyfriend. I just don't get it. I told him that I missed left. This was the last time I spoke with him, and it's already been a few weeks since this happened. My parents paid much more attention to the discrimination I faced since this incident. They wanted to learn more about the problems I face, and I really love them. My dad even bought a flag to support me and asked if he could hang it in our bedroom. I love that I have such great parents. I just wished for my brother to become the person he once was. By the way, since the case with my sister-in-law's family is over, I haven't heard anything about the daughter that called me. She supported us during the process, but we lost contact afterwards, and I just hope she's fine. Accidentally divided my family and my brother's wife.
My boyfriend of 7 years doesn't want to marry me because he thinks I'm using him as a visa mule. I, 29F, moved to the US 7 years ago as a graduate school student in Asia. I met my boyfriend, 30M, a few months after I moved, and we've been together ever since. My boyfriend is a US citizen. After I graduated, we had a serious discussion about the direction of our relationship. I made it very clear that I wanted to eventually get married and have children. My boyfriend echoed these sentiments. I remember asking him if he saw that happening with me because I didn't want to be in a relationship with no future. He told me he loved me, and that we were definitely headed in that direction. As of last week, we've been dating for 7 years. We've occasionally talked about marriage, but we were both busy with our respective careers, so the timing didn't seem quite right. However, recently my company announced that there's a chance that my department's work will be outsourced. I'm on an H-1B visa. In case you didn't know, it's a non-immigrant visa that allows U.S. companies to employ foreign workers in specialty occupations. This means that I need to start looking for a job as soon as possible if I want to continue staying in the US. Last week, during our anniversary, I brought this up. I asked him if he thought it was the right time to consider getting married, as that would also help with sorting out my visa issues. He looked like he was about to vomit. After much prodding, he confessed that he hadn't been planning for us to get married until I could obtain residency in the US on my own. I was incredibly confused because he had never mentioned this before. His reason was that he didn't want to be used as a visa mule by me, and that he wanted to ensure that I married him because I loved him, not just as a means to stay in the US, which can only happen when I obtain a green card. It took me a while to process what he said, and I asked him if he would be okay moving to Indonesia with me, to which he expressed reluctance. I did not react well and ended up leaving because I couldn't deal with what had just happened. I am still in disbelief. I started dating him because he was the kindest, most thoughtful, and generous man I'd ever met. I now feel like I wasted 7 years. While the visa issues are certainly a problem, I did not date him with the intention of making him my safety net. I cannot believe that even after living a decade together, he doesn't know what kind of person I am. I feel like this relationship is possibly over, and it hurts. It hurts so much. Update 1. Before I get to the update, I would like to address some comments. Getting permanent residency in the US is not easy. I know people who've been here for 15 plus years who are still waiting for their chance at permanent residency. For those of you who DM'd me, calling me a gold digger, you guys made me laugh. I am aware of the legalities around sponsoring a spouse for permanent residency, including the financial aspect. It shouldn't have been a problem for the following reasons. I'm a STEM major who recently shifted into management, and I work for a large company and do quite well for myself. My boyfriend is a teacher, and our incomes are not comparable. He earns around 60K, while I earn close to 300K, and we've been living together for 6 years. We have a shared account to pay for expenses like rent and utilities, into which we both deposit a percentage of our salary. The rest of our money goes into our private accounts, and we don't manage each other's money. Because I'm pretty frugal, I've saved up quite a bit of money in the form of savings and investments. If my boyfriend was worried about the legality of sponsoring me financially for 10 plus years, I would have happily discussed moving the money around. I was even considering buying a house, so we could have made that a joint ownership thing. The point is, we could have figured it out. I haven't relied on him financially ever, and I didn't intend on doing that in the future. Now, for the actual update, he is now my ex-boyfriend. I took a few days to collect myself and then reached out to him, wanting to talk. He agreed. It turns out that he has been insecure about earning less than I have for a while. Apparently, his friends have been poking fun at our relationship, calling me the sugar mommy because I take care of most of the expenses. He never told me this until now. He apparently didn't feel like an equal because our pay differs so much and started feeling that I was only with him as a quick way to get permanent residency here. I was speechless. I couldn't believe that his friends gaslighted him into doubting our relationship. I reminded him of how he had supported me when I was in grad school, like getting me groceries when I had little money to spare, allowing me to stay with him rent-free in my last year of grad school to help me minimize expenses so I didn't have to take out a loan, and letting me use his car when I was attending interviews. I told him that he did those things because he loved me, and me taking on the majority of household expenses since I started working as my way of paying him back for all the things he did for me back then. He said that he gets what I'm saying, but also that he didn't expect me to start earning more than him straight off the bat. I asked if there was any chance he'd consider going to couples therapy, and he declined because he didn't think he was being unreasonable. He said that he wanted to be the provider in a relationship and that he didn't feel like one in ours, so there's no going back from this unless I quit my job and found another that paid substantially less, which isn't going to happen. Well, long story short, we broke up. His family is in disbelief because they were hoping that he would propose soon, and I've moved into an Airbnb for now. A little bit of good news to end this update with. My company offered me a similar role in a different department. However, this is based out of France, and there's a small decrease in pay. I've always dreamed of living in Europe, and I've accepted this offer. I've signed a relocation agreement, and I'll move there in the next 8 to 12 weeks, so I'm excited to start this next chapter of my life. My boyfriend of 7 years doesn't want to marry me because he thinks I'm using him as a visa mule. When I told my husband to pick between me and his spawn of Satan's son. I, 39F, am married to Dave, 44M, and he has a son named Avery, 19M, and an ex-wife named Diana, 42F. Avery has always been hostile towards me, blaming me for his parents' divorce, despite his dad not meeting me until 3 years later. I have tried my best to spend time with Avery and been respectful of all the boundaries he set. However, Avery still hates me. It was fine with me, as long as he didn't treat me poorly because of his hatred. Well, Avery started treating me poorly when he found out his dad was marrying me. He threw a fit, claiming his dad needed his permission before marrying me, and that he wouldn't come to the wedding. His dad and I let it slide, and we sat down with Avery and Diana to try and figure out why he was upset. It didn't work, and Avery refused to see us until the wedding. At our wedding, Avery objected to us being married in front of everyone and later asked to make a speech. In his speech, he told everyone what a horrible person I was, that I was responsible for his parents' divorce, and that I was a dirty homewrecker. Dave drove Avery back to Diana's, but the damage was done, and several wedding guests assumed Avery was telling the truth. My wedding night was ruined because of this, and a good part of my family refuses to speak to me despite my explaining to them that this was not the case. Avery has continued to treat me poorly since then. Once, he got mad at me and dropped my cat off a shelter 2 towns over, refusing to tell me where he was until he'd been put down. I wanted to keep my wedding dress after the wedding, and he tore it to shreds. These are only 2 examples of the mistreatment that Avery has done to me over the years, and sadly, there's many more. The last straw happened last Wednesday. Dave and I had Avery over for dinner because Avery actually wanted to come. Long story short, when I went to get dessert and Dave wasn't there, Avery confronted me in the kitchen, began screaming at me, and told me that I was a horrible person, along with some other not-so-nice things. Dave eventually came in, Avery left, and I got upset. I told Dave that I was tired of his son constantly attacking me and treating me poorly because of something he knows didn't happen, and that I'd put up with his behavior for the last 6 years. I told him that he had to make a choice between me and Avery because I wasn't putting up with Avery's mistreatment any longer, and if it was a requirement of being married to Dave, I'd be filing for divorce. Dave told me it wasn't fair to make him make this decision, and I told him it might not have been fair, but it wasn't fair of him to let his son harass and attack me for years. Update 1. To start, about 2 weeks after my post, Avery seriously injured me. Dave allowed him to spend time with him, and I was making myself lunch. To make a long story short, Avery grabbed a knife from the knife block, and I had to be rushed to the hospital. He didn't try to delete me, he just wanted to cause great harm to me, and he did. I filed a police report, but Avery said I harmed myself to get him in trouble and there wasn't enough evidence to make an arrest, and somehow Dave was furious with me for reporting it in the first place. As soon as I was released, I ran. I'm currently staying with my sister and am safe. I filed for divorce, and I'm working on getting a restraining order. I'm also going to work on getting myself into therapy once the world isn't going crazy, though that might take a while. I definitely need it. To those who are calling me just as bad for not leaving right away, I know, I'm a huge pushover, and way too much of an optimist for my own good. I'll answer some questions from the previous post. I would have answered them there, but the post was locked because people can't be civil. What age was Avery when you and Dave got married? He was 17 at the time, but I've known him since he was 13. I dated Dave for 4 years, and have been married to Dave for 2 years. How did Avery just drop my cat off in a shelter? The shelters around where I live are high deletion. My guess is that he dropped my cat off and claimed he was a stray. Then he waited a month and told me that he was the one who got rid of my cat. What aren't you telling? You've left out a lot of the story, and you won't tell anyone what you've done that is probably just as bad, etc. Here's what I left out. When I met Avery, I was very upfront with him. I told him I wasn't his mom, and I wouldn't act like his mom. Then he started becoming hostile and openly hateful toward me. At first, it was just him screaming and throwing tantrums, and stealing little things, like items from my small snack stash, little trinkets of mine, small gifts his dad sometimes got me, etc. I told my husband to pick between me and his spawn of Satan's son.
What is the most gut-wrenching thing your spouse has said to you? My wife's confession flipped my world upside down. On Saturday night, my wife, sister, and my mother joined me for a Veterans Day-related event at a local hotel. There my wife randomly ran into a former co-worker named John, and they spent a good chunk of the evening catching up. He basically kept coming over to our table and kept saying how thrilled he was to see her. At one point she went to the ladies' room with my sister, but ended up staying with him at another table. She was never really far from me, and I didn't think much of it, but I did notice she was drinking a lot more than usual, considering we rarely drink. The event ended around midnight and most people had cleared out already, but her and John were still talking, at which point I came over and said, "Honey, we have to go. Our Uber is waiting." As we walked to the car, she made it clear she was not happy about me coming over and breaking up their conversation and called me a freaking piece of crap, which made me laugh out loud because she never talks like that, which in turn made her more mad. We got in the car and I sat in the front, while my wife, sister, and mother sat in the back seat. As the driver started heading home, my wife rudely asked him where he was going. The driver said he was following the GPS, and she shouted at him saying, "No, I'm going to Norm's. I'm hungry." Norm's is a 24-hour Denny's-type restaurant that we've been to only once in recent years. I apologized to the driver and asked him to keep following the GPS home, but she kept saying she was going to Norm's. This behavior was completely out of character for my wife, who is a well-educated and very respectful woman. She had never caused a scene in public, and was usually always very friendly to our Uber drivers. My sister and mother sat there quietly, until my sister texted me, she wants to go to Norm's because that's where John is going. I can see her phone and he's texting her right now. After that I told my wife, who was getting louder and more obnoxious, that we could go to Norm's for Sunday brunch in the morning, but that we needed to get home. From there things took a turn for the worse. She started screaming something like, "What am I going to do at home? Play around with your little pecker? Your little pecker does nothing for me. I should have screwed John when I had the chance. It's time I start being it."
I'm streaming. I can go back and check the equipment where I died. 36. This way. No, 36. I was on this mountain, that's why I couldn't find it. I'm praying it's still there. God damn it, stop turning off. 120. I think it's in there. Okay, fuck. It was 30. I got onto this mountain. Five, 36. 36. I'll start running this way. What happened? Not Twitter.
Required to reach the bottom of the Pacific. The concrete and steel it would take over thousands of miles. I can do it, but it is hard for me to justify your desire. Required to reach the bottom of the Pacific. The concrete and steel it would take over thousands of miles. I can do it, but it is hard for me to justify.
Okay, so it's over here. $116. No, I ran this way. So 16. Right about here. Yeah, so found it. Just go down here and take the shit. Dang it, take. One of my chest plates not here. Damn. Okay, pickaxe. Oh, my pickaxe is spawning. Oh, shit's spawning. I feel like the good shit. I got it. Okay. Don't notice anything gone off the back except all my pickaxes. I think no one. Just the other one. Okay.
Your desire for worldly things. Take a little more time. Human with real men. Boom. My world fell apart right there in that stranger's car, with the three people I love the most in this world. My sister and mother intervened by telling her to shut up, but she kept going, telling me how bad I was in bed and how I couldn't get her pregnant. Along with a bunch of other outrageous things I can't even repeat because it hurt so much. When we finally got home, my sister and mother, who was crying, went inside the house, and I tried to negotiate my wife's exit from the vehicle. After a few minutes, I gave up and told the driver to take her wherever she wanted to go. At that point, I was more concerned about my mother. About 30 minutes later, I got the notification that the ride had ended. She wound up going to her parents' house. That was over 48 hours ago, and I haven't heard a peep from her. I haven't tried to contact her either. Her dad came over tonight to get her car and some clothes because she has to work tomorrow. I told him exactly what happened. He said she's not talking at all. She had just told her parents that she would be at their house for a few days, so they thought that I was to blame for whatever happened. I really don't know what to do. I'm still shaking with anger for what she did and fear that my marriage might be over just like that, with no warning whatsoever. For the record, it's not that I can't get her pregnant. She's the one who can't have children, but that has never been an issue in our relationship. We knew that when we got married. And my manhood is smaller than average, but she's known that since before we started dating. We met in 2007 and became best friends, started dating in 2012, and married in 2016. We communicate our physical desires very clearly, and I thought our private life was great. Now I'm not so sure. I have always had an unfounded fear of losing her because she is so smart and beautiful and outgoing, that men are constantly salivating all around her. Even though she has never given me a reason to doubt, I've always feared that some man will eventually come along and convince her that I'm not good enough for her. But she is by far the most ethical person I have ever met, so I don't think she has ever cheated on me, and I don't think she really meant everything she said that night. But I'm having a difficult time getting my thoughts in order, especially because she hasn't contacted me at all. But then again, this is new territory for both of us. We have never had a significant argument, much less a fight that would lead us to sleep apart one night. Last week was a normal week. Saturday was a fun day. She was very happy all day, and we were both very much looking forward to this event. The only variable was her running into John, whom I had met maybe 5 years ago when they worked together, but they had never dated or been particularly close. So I really don't know what triggered her. She also has a very good relationship with my sister and my mother. My sister is one of her best friends and has been for years, so I'm sure she's embarrassed for them as well. But her silence now is what's killing me. I don't know what to make of it. Should I be the one to go see her and try to fix things, or should I let her come back on her own terms? Update. It has been over a week and still nothing. I gave her enough time and space to think about it, and I did not receive even a text, so I decided to drive over to her parents' place, where she was staying. Desperate for answers, I arrived at the in-laws and my wife had went out, but left her phone at home. I said screw it. I've trusted her this entire time. Not once have I looked at her phone knowing her password, and still, nothing. So far, I was lost and confused, and so I made my way back home, and this is where everything starts to unravel. I looked through my wife's personal belongings and found a series of old letters hidden away. My wife had been having an ongoing emotional affair with John for quite some time, long before that fateful night at the event. They had been exchanging love letters and planning to run away together. In these letters, my wife expressed her dissatisfaction with the marriage and our relationship, claiming that I don't truly understand her and that John is the one who truly makes her happy. They had intended to use the staged argument as a cover to leave me behind, starting a new life together. Couples, what is the most gut-wrenching thing your spouse has said to you? My wife's confession flipped my world upside down.
I told my husband to pick between me and his spawn of Satan's son.
My daughter is pregnant. How do I tell her that our older daughter is actually her biological mother? So, my wife Rose, 53F, and I, 53M, had our older daughter Sarah, 31F, when we were 22. We were young and broke, but we managed, and now we've raised Sarah the best we could. She got pregnant at 15, and it was a very depressing time for her. She had to go to therapy but never told us anything about the father, which always upset her. Consequently, we never pushed the issue. Initially, she wanted to terminate the pregnancy but kept canceling. Eventually, she told us she wanted to give the baby up for adoption. However, 5 months into the pregnancy, when she was discussing adoption with a social worker for a couple to adopt, the couple dropped out. After trying to find more couples, Sarah asked us if we wanted to adopt. At this point, Rose and I were both 38, and we had been discussing having another child. So, we ended up adopting our daughter Ellie when Sarah had her at 16. 2 years after Ellie, Rose and I had our...
I told my husband to pick
the daughter.
My husband's days are numbered, and he's come to terms with it, but I just can't deal with it. I, 42F, have been married to my husband, 38M, for over 10 years. We met when I was 24 in a club. Ever since I knew him, he could never accept any health damages. For instance, he fell from a ladder from about 2 meters or so and went into the hospital just because I insisted. When he was 25, he started complaining about his knee hurting really badly when he bent it. It took me 5 years to persuade him to go to the doctor over this, and he ended up having surgery. After the surgery, he was supposed to rest for 2 months, but after 2 weeks, he was back to working out and jogging. 2 years ago, he was diagnosed with leukemia. He immediately stopped smoking after the diagnosis and worked out even more than before to boost his health. However, it didn't help at all, and last month his health went downhill. He became pale and weak to the point where I had to help him up the stairs on a few occasions. 2 days ago, while dining, our daughter, 15F, asked him if he could take her hiking to the Alps next year. He just said something along the lines of, "I'm not sure if I'll still be around by that time." I kept my cool at that moment. After our daughters left to go to sleep, I blew up on him. I started screaming, and I can't even remember exactly what it was anymore. Something like, "From the moment I met you, you never gave into any health condition. You always overcame everything, and now, out of nowhere, you're just going to accept it and kick the bucket?" Normally, he would raise his voice at me, saying, "We are not animals in this house, so we will not scream at each other." But not then. He just glared into the corner of the kitchen and said nothing. When his eyes started watering, my heart shattered into thousands of pieces. At that moment, I knew I only had a short amount of time left with the love of my life, and I will forever regret blowing up at him. I apologized for everything, and he told me I didn't even have to, that it's only natural, and that stages of grief are a real thing. We had a long talk today, and I decided to arrange bucket list days for him so he can enjoy the last few months he has. Update 1. Hello Reddit. I haven't really had the intention to post on here again, but my therapist thought it might be therapeutic to do so since it helped the last time. My kids are at my late husband's parents', so I've had some wine to give me the will to actually write this down. As you might have guessed from my previous text, it happened. My husband passed away about half a year ago, and I miss him so damn much. I wanted to thank all of you who suggested grief counseling.
Which I know...
Why aren't you traffic monitors managing this drop-off?
He's on a no-show job. Me, I'm on no work.
I'm on no show? Then what am I doing here?
But don't you like my company?
I like it. I don't love it.
Where are all the markers?
They're selling them across the border in Ogdenville without paying the dry erase tax.
You got any rent, man? Nobody's got rent.
$200 a bag.
That's not cool. You're taking advantage of my addiction to highlighting important material, man.
You are late with your envelope.
Tough tamales.
You see these mashed potatoes?
Yeah.
What if we make you eat them?
You're right, Dad. It's time I stopped being a terrified clown and started being a terrified educator. I'm gonna stand up like a man and rat them out behind their backs.
Yeah, sorry, Krusty, but the police have no jurisdiction in private schools, private clubs, private homes, basically any place outside the police station.
Are you willing to wear a wire?
I will, but I must warn you, I'm super ticklish.
I'm not even
introduction.
But I know you're gonna.
So, we figured it's best to put the microphone in the squirting flower.
Gotcha. Does the flower still squirt? Actually, if you squirt it, you'll be immediately electrocuted. Yeah. Ugh.
Why aren't you traffic monitors managing this drop-off?
I'm thinking I should get a restraining order.
Those are so hard to enforce.
Cause your car was parked outside my house every night this week.
Our neighbors are sweet.
You're the reason that I have to keep my shades drawn.
I'll watch you through the chimney.
I've installed an alarm system with motion beam detectors.
I have the code.
Give me just 5 minutes.
What are you doing? We don't break plates.
You don't?
No. Except when the greatest dishwasher of all time returns.
Okay, we've been coding for 97 hours straight, but we finally got a build that's working.
Oh, I regret to inform you that my P-tube has become unattached.
Let's live test this thing. Who do we know with no filter and zero impulse control?
Say, Bart, look what we hacked from Skinner's hard drive.
Attention U.S. Patent Office. The following is video proof of the effectiveness of my laser nose hair trimmer. I'll just...
This is the holy fail. I've got to post a link with witty comment. World's lamest dork is giant loser. Poop emoji.
If you post this, you will receive a minimum 5 weeks detention.
5 weeks? I can't do a nickel. You know what? I'm not gonna post that video.
Now to see if Conrad's prediction algorithm really works.
But if you post it, I'll get...
5 weeks detention.
Oh.
Yay! The prediction came true. Our app works.
Everyone in the world is going to buy Conrad for their phone. We're going to be bigger than Cribble, the Filipino Google. So, who are we going to edge out of the company first?
Always the savvy, never the Zuckerberg.
This is what it feels like to change the world.
Change the world? That's rather a lot of pressure. I am still in beta, you know.
Conrad? Did you just talk to me?
Well, it wasn't Candy Crush. Oh, nothing like a good laugh to break the ice, is what I hear. Anyway, is now a good time for a bit of a chat?
You're alive! Conrad, just talk to me! Conrad, just talk to me! Conrad, tell her you talk to me!
What are you doing? We don't break plates.
This is the world we live in. Monsters are in it.
I just gotta dive. Pretty sure I killed everybody in this village by taking all the beds.